Yes, we are playing Tungaru. I can actually go ahead and go over to the table. Let's make sure. I appreciate that, Panic. I really do appreciate that. So this is Tungaru. For anyone who does not know, this is basically Moana, the board game. For a while, people thought that. People thought that this was going to be Moana, the board game. And admittedly, the front cover makes it look like Moana, the board game, right? But the actual gameplay itself, I mean, it kind of, because you do kind of island hop and things like that. But that game itself isn't as good of a game, in my opinion, as Tungaru. Tungaru is a better game. And yes, Games of Fire and Panic are both wonderful streamers as well that you guys should, everybody should be following both of them. So please do if you're not doing so already. So this basically comes down to, you have a hand of cards. You have a worker, a beggar, a fisher, a trader, and a chief. They're numbered 1 through 5. Every player has a set of cards. You have 4 dice, but most of the time you're only going to be using 3 of them. And those 3 dice are going to end up in your little canoe or boat or whatever after we roll them. You have 3, I want to get the terminology right here. You have 3 settlers on your team. These are settlers. And it's kind of a shame. I don't know if you can tell this or not, but let me pick up the red and the yellow. The color that they used for the highlighting texture of the yellow player doesn't show through. I don't know how well this is going to show through on camera there, but you can see the details on the red settler, and you really can't see the details on the yellow settler, which is a real shame. And that's the same way on the monuments as well. You cannot see the details on the monuments at all for the red or for the yellow compared to the red. And all the other colors you can see just fine. Like you can really see the details of the red there. All the other colors you can see really well, but yellow is the only one where they just chose a weird color, or my set's just off. I don't know. I looked at the Kickstarter page for this, and the Kickstarter page you can see the yellow pretty clearly. So I don't know if my set's off for the yellow, which is a shame because yellow is my favorite color, or if it just kind of went wrong in production, or the coloring that they used on the Kickstarter page just wasn't feasible. I don't know. But honestly, like, these are super thick. Like, to show you, like, my thumb in comparison to the piece, how thick that monument is. So super thick component quality, nice wooden pieces. You have 4 different resources, and these 4 resources are all shaped and colored differently, which I appreciate. Oh, I didn't get a fish. So all shaped and colored differently, which to me is very important. And again, all pretty thick, not small by any means. The canoes are just little plastic things, but they're kind of cool. And I get why the dice are so small, because you want to put them in the canoe and you didn't want to make the canoe so big. But the small dice is like my one thing that I'm not really a huge fan of. And these guys are like pretty thick too. So component quality of this is great. And I literally said, as we were playing the game for the first time, when I told my game group that this was Alley Cat Games and that Dice theme park that we just backed was also Alley Cat Games, they got excited. Because they realized how good of component quality this game is, and figured that if this game is that good of component quality, Dice theme park will actually probably be that good of component quality too. Now basically what you do on your turn is, well, here, let's go through setup real quick. So I've set up most of the game, but not the final part of the game. And what I need to do is, so I've placed our score markers here, both on 0. I've given us 3 settlers each. I've put all of our monuments on where they belong. 5 belong here, 2 belong on these spaces, 1 belongs here in the storage area. These are where you can put nomads, which are these tiles. This unlocks bonuses as you go down the track. Those are basically the last ones you want to use. And this right here is an extra storage space. So you basically want to unlock the storage space, then the nomads, and then go down the side here. You use these cards. These have some abilities on them, and you use your dice to place out here. So the different actions you can do is by spending a die of any number, you can sail up to 2 spaces for free, or a 3rd space for a cost of a fish. If you cannot sail any more than 3 spaces. And what the spaces are separated by these dotted lines. So you can sail from here 1, 2, 3 if you paid a fish, but you could not go any farther. Actually, that's all 1, isn't it? Yeah, you couldn't go any farther out if you wanted to. Would be silly to go out there anyway. But yeah, you kind of just have to. Is that a dotted line? Or is that one area? Oh, so this is one area, but it's not dockable, it looks like. Because you have to be where the ships are. So ships can be here, 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 or there. You cannot put ships out here or out here. Which that makes sense, because if you were out here, you'd be right there anyway. So yeah. But you could go from here all the way to around to that side. So there's different ways of moving. That's sailing. To harvest, you take a die that matches this section on the island that you're going to. So let's say I am right here, and I wanted to harvest that coconut. I would put a die that is either 4, 5, or 6 down right in the 3 dice placements right there. And then I would take 1 coconut and put it in my supply. Likewise, to settle, what you do is you take any number die. It doesn't have to be a specific number. You put it on the island you want to settle. You take one of your settlers and put them in one of the 2 settler spaces on the island. This is the 2 to 3 player side of the board. On the other side of the board, there is a 4 and a 5 player side that has more islands and more spaces. Another option that you can do is to trade on the island. Trade on the island, you put any dice face down. It doesn't have to be a specific number. And then you turn in what's on the left side of the trade space. In this case, that is a shell. And you put it here in the storage area. And then from the supply, you take 1 pearl in this case. The next time somebody wants to trade there, they would do the same thing. They could trade a shell for a pearl, or they could just take the shell. They do not have to trade a shell for a pearl in that case, but only if somebody else had already done so. To travel, not sail, to travel, if you already have let's say they're right here. If you already have a settler on an island, but you do not want them on that island anymore, you pay a die on the island that they're on. I believe. Let me double check that. You pay on the island that they're on. I believe that's the case. Yeah. So the island that the settler is on, you put the die on, can be any number. And then you can move that settler from that island to a connected island. So in this case, this island here is connected to this island and that island. So I can move them over here. But when you move them, they're exhausted. Each settler can do 1 action. And in this case, that is the action for that settler. And then last is recruit. And recruit is probably one of the most important actions. And that is trying to get these nomads, which are out here, which help you do more things as well as get you points. So let's say I'm over right here, and I wanted to buy this nomad. I would come over to this space with my boat. I would place any numbered die in the 3 die spaces. If all 3 die spaces are filled up on an island, then no more dice can be used on that island. You can still use any settlers that are there, but you can't place dice. Then you would pay the cost of that settler. In this case, it would be a coconut and a pearl. Or this nomad, I should say. You take the nomad, you add them to your village down here on the bottom, and then you take one of the these tiles, which I think they're all supposed to be face up. So I'll just flip them face up for now. And that allows you to kind of see what's coming next. You then would choose, so this island here is connected to this one and this one. I get to choose which one I would want to go out. And let's say I want the gain a fish. So if I had this one, at the start of every one of my turns, I would get a fish, which is great. Like, that's super awesome. This one right here that I just took, that gives you 2 additional storage spaces. Which is also really, really good. And there's a couple other things that they do. But yeah, overall, it looks like there's a lot of stuff to do, but overall it's fairly simple. And I actually really liked it. I like the dice placement aspect. I like the moving around the board. When you recruit a nomad, you take one of your monuments and you put it on the island. You can only put 1 monument on per island, and that is that's kind of like showing you how that goes. And there are certain nomads that give points for how many monuments you have placed. So placing more monuments is a good thing. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and get into the game. If you have any questions while I'm playing, please go ahead and let me know. But I will kind of, as I do with most games that I play, I will kind of explain what I'm doing during the game. So let's go ahead and go to the continuing setup here, because I did leave a couple things out as I wanted to show them off. So I put everything out. The player to the right of the starting player, which in this case is the red player, yes. Player to the right of the starting player will put their boat on an empty anchoring ground space, which is where the ships are on the board. And then reserve one of the nomads on the islands next to their boat. So they will take one, and let's see if there's any nomads out here. Like I said, the storage one is really good. Gaining a coconut, gaining a pearl, which is pretty decent. But for the pearl, you'd have to find another pearl first. You couldn't pay for that right away because you only have 1 of each. And there's no pearls up there. You can get a pearl at this island, or that's actually the only place you can get a pearl. Oh, I guess you could get a pearl there too. So let's have red. Let's say red goes up here, because this could actually work for them favor if they want the pearl. So they're going to go up there, and they are going to take their monument and reserve. They're going to reserve the coconut or the pearl? The coconut. They're going to reserve the coconut. Then yellow gets to go and gets to place their boat. And I'm going to have yellow place their boat here. And they are going to take their monument. And I think anybody that once you played the game once, you're always going to place your first monument from your storage area. It doesn't really make sense to do it from anywhere else. And I'm going to have them reserve the storage space, because storage space is very nice. Okay. So we went ahead and did that. We got all that taken care of. And now we can begin the game. The first thing we do is roll dice and gain goods. So the first player rolls 3 dice and sits those in their boat. And then everybody else... I thought that was a 3. It was a 3. It slipped in my hand. And then everybody else takes their 3 dice and matches those. Everybody else does not roll. They match what was rolled by the first player and puts them in their boat too. So everybody is playing with the same dice. You may not be in the same position. You may not be you're not in the same place on the board, and each space can hold actually, it looks like in this side of the board each space can only hold 1 ship. That's interesting. I didn't actually even notice that. Is that a rule? Because on the other side you can hold 2 ships, I think. Does it mention that? In a 2 or 3 player game, players do not place their third settler on an island. Instead, they are placed flat on one of the settler spaces on the island in the bottom right corner of the board. These settlers cannot be used for actions, and they do not move or cannot be moved. However, they do count for purposes of scoring at the end of the game. Oh, I didn't even read that before. So we actually only get 2 settlers. We have to put these settlers down here. We don't get to use those. But I was looking at about sailing.
Let's rock it! Rock it!
Atticus! Thank you so much for that sub, Atticus. I really do appreciate that. Let's rock it. 335 is right. 1 per anchoring ground. Yep. Okay, so I was right. It's only 1 per anchoring ground in a 2 to 3 player game, as I thought. Atticus, welcome in. I am playing Tungaru from Alley Cat Games. I got to play this last weekend and had a lot of fun with it. So I am playing it again tonight. We are just getting started here, setting up the board. The board is set up for our first play. And a yellow player is going to be our first player. The only other thing we have to do is pick our starting leader card. And the way this works is you pick a leader, you play that leader out, and then at the end of the turn, you're going to, you do this all secretly. You play it out at the same time, and at the end of the turn, you're going to pass to the right, or to the left, basically. And in this case, in a 2-player game, you would basically just trade cards. So you're not always going to have the same 5 cards in your hand. You have this one on your unplayed shelf. Yes, it was on my unplayed shelf until last weekend as well. And if you get the chance to play it, I would highly suggest it because I thought it was a lot of fun. I am still congested. I feel a little bit better today than yesterday, but definitely still congested. Definitely not 100% yet, but overall, today was a pretty good day. Enjoyed some time in the evening here with the kids and celebrated my littlest's first birthday. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, so if I'm down here, I'm wanting this thing, pearl and a coconut. I'm wanting crazy amounts of pearls. I think I might just do the worker with the yellow player. And the red player also wants... They want pearl, they want coconut, they want shell. They could do the worker too. Now they could do the fisher though. Fisher gets some shells and or coconuts. Let's say they do the fisher, because I don't want to take too much time thinking about like what's the best option for them. So let's say they do the fisher, and when they do the fisher, Their top power is they automatically get a fish, and they can store it there. They do not need to store it on their player board until the end of the turn. For the worker, what the worker is, its special ability, is you get to roll your fourth dice, and then play that on your player board. And I rolled a 4, which is a number we didn't have, so that's very good too. Thank you for that, Atticus. I appreciate it. And then each character also has a special ability on the bottom. The workers is when you harvest, you get 2 of that resource instead of 1. And the fisher is you can sail without having to spend a die. You can also use dice on them. The fisher, you can spend a 5 to get 2 shells, or a 1 or a 4 to get a coconut. And for the worker, you can spend a 5 to get a pearl, or a 1 and a 6 to get a shell. And there are different characters. Like I said, there's a beggar, a trader, and a chief. If you are given the chief card, if you use the chief card, instead of having the power, you take the first player token on the next turn. It also has other good things, like you can get 2 fish and things like that. It's a good card, but the main thing you do for that is to get the first player marker, because it does not go back and forth each turn. To get it, you have to play your chief. So let's go ahead and take our first turn. Let's see what we would like to do. We could sail, but we don't want to sail. We could recruit that nomad, which is a pretty good idea since we have the required goods for it. We do not have the ability to get pearls for that with what's out here right now. Though we could play a 5 to get the pearl over here. We can get 2 fish by using our worker's ability. And we could trade in the shell for a coconut. So there's definitely some things to be able to be done here. And we could also settle. But I think the first thing we're going to do is we will spend die. And let's go ahead and spend the 6. I think we're going to do. We're going to spend the 6 to recruit this nomad to our board. This stays out there now. We have a monument on that island. Then we can choose one of these 2 to replace that. We're going to choose the fish to replace it. We can recruit on that island again, but we won't get to place another monument on that island if that's the case. Okay, so that was yellow's first turn. Now red gets to go. And I have to spend the resources, obviously. There we go. Red has a couple of options too. They probably are in a better position than yellow is. Oh no, they're not, because they only need a 1 or a 2 here to get that pearl, and we got 3, 5, and 6. They got screwed by the number. That's a shame. And I didn't give them a card to give them a pearl. Oh well, they'll have to wait a turn, I guess. Alright, but they can spend a shell and a coconut to recruit this nomad, which every subsequent turn they're going to get a coconut. So that's great. And then they can only choose from this island right here to replenish. So that's where that's going to come from. All right. Oh no, I guess they could choose from here too. These are connected this way. I see that now. So they could have chose from there, but that's fine. So they took their action. They had to spend one of these dice. Let's see, what is the better dice numbers for them? 3. They want to spend their 6 because their 6 doesn't really do anything for them. So they spent their 6. We come back down to the yellow player, and the yellow player will go ahead and do something. They could settle an island, which isn't a bad idea. However, I think I'm going to use my worker's ability. I'm going to spend the 3. Do I want the 2 fish? Yeah, I think I do. I'm going to spend the 3 and my worker's ability. So I spin him over to exhaust him to get 2 fish for my yellow player. And that's my action there. So red's turn. Red has a pearl and a fish. Again, there's no way of getting that second pearl to recruit that person, but they really want. 2 more dice. They have a lot of space for items, so they might just want to recruit or harvest. I think what they'll do here is take the that's both shells though. That's fine. I have a bunch of shells. What can they trade shells in that though? Down here and right there. Ooh, shells for pearls. They'll go here and harvest that shell. Alright, and now it is yellow's turn, and yellow will do something. I feel like I'm not maximizing yellow's turns here that well. I have a 5 left. I think I was going to go on my character card here to get a pearl. So I have a pearl for the next turn, hopefully. Red gets to go. And red was probably also going to take their 5 and put them on their character card and get 2 more shells. So they have a lot of shells right now, so they might be looking to be able to spend those. And then yellow has an extra die. It has the 4, so we can do something with our 4. And we could either get another fish, we could get a shell, we could turn a shell into a coconut. Any of those are feasible. We could also sail over to here. And then on the next turn, we could turn a shell into a pearl and then come down here and recruit this one if we wanted. But we might want that fish. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'll come here because I have a fish and a pearl. I think I will spend the fish and the pearl and recruit this so that on the next turn I can have a fish. Now I do not get to put down another monument. I do choose from one of these 2 though. So let's go ahead and just choose from this one. That's fine. Place. And so next turn, at the beginning of the turn, I will get a fish, which I think is pretty important. They did not use their fish, so they have a full stock. Ooh, that's actually going to be not the greatest for them. We will gain their dice back. We clean up any dice. We did not play any settlers this round. Clean up all dice. Check to see if any of the win conditions were met. They were not. So we go ahead and we roll dice again. And yellow is still... Oh, I'm sorry. We trade our cards. So this one goes to them. That one goes to them. And then yellow rolls the dice again. We rolled a 1, a 3, and a 6. So red has to match 1, 3, and 6 on their dice. And we go ahead and throw them in their boat. Oop. There's the 3. There it is. All right, and then we just keep going, and that's basically the game. You're trying to get victory points. There's different victory points. They all come from the nomads, basically. just in different ways. Oh, and then we get the foods. So yellow is getting a fish, and red is getting a coconut. They have all these. They're full basically, but they can go ahead and get rid of one to keep the coconut, and that's probably what they will do. So now yellow goes again. Yellow does not have any pearls. How do I get yellow some pearls? That is the question. Oh, they have to pick cards. They have to pick some cards. Ah. Do I want them to have the pearls though? Do I want them to be able to spin up and down? I think I kind of do. I feel like that's a really decent card. So I'm going to have yellow play the Trader, which is a cool ability. So I'll tell you about that in a second. And for our red player, they need to get a pearl, which they can from this. And then if they got a pearl and they could replace it with this one or that one. Huh. What else are they going to want to do here? There's no 5, there's 1, 3, 6. There's no 5. Oh, they're going to want to play their worker, I think. Which I'll just have them play the yellow worker, because why not? Alright, so they're playing the worker. The yellow player is playing the Trader. So red gets to roll their die. And they rolled. Okay, they also rolled a 1. But yellow goes first. And the first thing they do with their ability is they can. What is the action? They can trade without using a settler or a die. So what would I want to do here? I could trade a pearl, 2 shells, a pearl in 2 places, a shell in 2 places, a coconut in 1, and a fish in 1. But I only have a shell. Oh, I could trade a shell for a coconut. I mean, a shell for a pearl. Yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. So for free, I'm trading this shell for this pearl. Which in this case, then I probably didn't need to use the Trader, but that's fine. And then yellow gets to take their turn. And I'm trying to get this card with the 2 pearls. So I could just use my Trader ability. I could also sail across and make some moves. No, I can't go there now because I don't have the. Yeah, I just have to trade. So I might harvest first. Okay, so we're going to spend our 6 to harvest a shell, and then red. Go ahead, check the chat. Red is going to try to get this one as well. They have 1 pearl. I probably should have made them. We'll have them grab this one first because they have a full house of resources and they have an extra action. So this requires a fish and a coconut, and we're definitely not playing that one. We have 2 1s. I might use it twice over there, to be honest. Let's play the 6. Yeah, let's play the 6 right here to recruit this character. Paying our fish and coconut. Pay fish and coconut to recruit that character. it is now yellow's turn, and yellow is trying to get this character, this nomad, and so they are going to use their trader ability, and that allows them to basically use any resource for any resource. I'm going to use a shell and a fish to pay for these two pearls, and I get to place a monument down on that island. I do need to pay a die though, so let's go ahead and pay the one die. That's not going to help me. Alright. Then I can replace it with either one of these. Just for variety, we'll replace it with that one. So we haven't really been over here yet. So now every time I use a die, I can spin it up 1 or down 1. So this 3 could be a 2, 3, or 4, which is really, really valuable. Back to red. And red is going to use their worker ability and harvest 2 pearls, placing them on their board. Back to yellow. What does our friend yellow want to do? They could get a shell from their character board. They can get a fish here. They could get a shell right there. We'll just say they get a shell. It's 1 shell from anywhere, so basically that's fine. Now red has 2 dice left, and we are going to use our 3 over here to recruit this character. They get to place a monument on that island, and so now at the beginning of the turn they will get a pearl every turn, which is freaking great because pearl seems to be the rarest of the resources, and so that is something to keep in mind. I know one thing I meant to do is I meant to have some music playing. My bad on that. Hopefully that ends up a good volume there. Spent the 2 pearls, and then it is red's turn again, and they're gonna come back over here to harvest 1 more pearl, and so they can kind of get a pearl back. Alright, and that is the end of that round. We clean up all dice. We haven't settled it all yet. I do plan on doing that here soon. I just wanted to get some nomads off the board. Oh, I have to replace these. We'll just replace it with that one and with that one. Oops. And when all 4 of the nomad stacks run out, that's when the game will end. Okay. So we go ahead and trade our cards. We roll our dice because nobody played the chief, so yellow is still rolling. We got a 1, a 4, and a 5. Take these and put 1, 4, 5. Put them in the boat. And then the yellow player gets a fish at the beginning of the turn, and the red player gets a coconut and a pearl, but only has space for 1 of those. I'm actually thinking of getting rid of a shell. Shells are fairly common. I might end up not liking that, but that's okay. I am going to go ahead and mute myself real quick while I blow my nose, so I do apologize. Ah, that feels better. I think I'm unmuted. Hopefully I am. Yes, I am. Good. Always have to make sure that the hotkeys are working correctly. All right. So let us see what we can do here now. Alright. Yellow is first. I want to get some settlers on the board, but I want to get them in places that make sense. So like, they're getting a fish every turn, so they should go somewhere where they can trade fish. But the only place they can trade fish is up top, and that's for a coconut, which isn't really the best thing to trade for. It's not bad, but if you could trade for a pearl, that's better. But that's okay. We have to choose a character though. I might choose a fisher for this one, because they do want to move, so they can move for free. And for this one, they would like to go somewhere where pearls are needed because they got a ton of pearls right now. But they can't be fisher because they have already been fisher. I'll have them be a trader. We'll figure that one out. Alright, so they're a trader, they're a fisher, and now we are playing our turns again. The fisher gets a fish. The trader actually gets to trade any resources they want. Ooh, they could get more storage. That's probably a pearl on the shelf. They have that. Trade a pearl for 2 shells. We don't have the storage for that. I don't think they're going to use the trading ability, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do with our person is sail away with our yellow person. And they want to end up on this island, I think. They'd prefer to be in this space. Actually, maybe they'll wait for the other player to move. They don't really want to be there either. So maybe they'll wait a turn. But what are they going to do in that turn? Nothing. They're going to do nothing. I don't know what to do. I guess, you know what? We're not going to go up to that corner, because we're going to go somewhere where we don't have any monuments right now. And so we're going to go 1, 2, and end up there. Because we don't have a monument on either one of those islands. And that's the turn for them. The red player would kind of like that storage before they get out of there. So they're going to go ahead and spend a die. And they're going to spend, let's see, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Looks like they're spending the 4. They're going to spend the 4 to recruit this one in their last spot. They can't. Never mind. They can't do that because they can't remove this because they're already on that island. So that is not something they can do. They need to go to a different island, so they have to sail. So they're just going to place their 4 on here to sail. And they would like to sail. Where would they like to sail? They're going to sail 1, 2, and come down to this area, I think. Sure, let's do that. That works for me. So they sailed, so now it is Yellow's turn. What would Yellow like to do? They don't have any coconuts. They can get a coconut by a 1 or a 4 on this here. And they can get a coconut by a 4 through 6 on that. Okay. Oh, yeah, we can make this work. So let's go here and use our 1 to get a coconut from our fisher. Red player. Let's see, what's the red have going for them here? Lots of pearls. They have a 1 and a 5 left. They're going to place the 1 on this island, along with their monument, to take this nomad for a coconut, a fish, and a pearl. So, boop, boop, boop. There we go. And then it's Yellow, and Yellow wants to get another coconut because they're trying to buy this. So to get another coconut, they have to go here with their 4, and they get another coconut. And they can place it on their storage spaces with their nomad. Back to red. Oh, red had to replace one of these. We'll just replace it with this one because the stack's bigger. If they buy any more nomads, they have to flip one over face down. They could also use their ability. Actually, they might do that right now. They can spend any die and get 10 points per pearl. They have 2 pearls on them. The only thing I could imagine that would be better for them would be if they could get another pearl, and I don't see any way of doing so. So I'm going to go ahead and just say the best thing for red is to use this nomad, go up 20 points, which is crazy, and spend those 2 pearls. So that was a huge point jump for them. The Yellow has 1 die left. And they were going to come up here, spend, or do they want the 2? No, they're fine. They spend this to get this guy. They get to place a monument. And that costs them 1 coconut and 2 coconut. Alright. They get to bring this fish over. All they have is that. Collect our dice. Clean up phase. Trade cards. And then hand out food. This player gets a fish. They have so much fish. They really need to do something different for this fish. This player gets a coconut and a pearl, which is great because they were running low on resources. And it is Yellow to roll the dice. And they got 3, 3. Hey, Atticus! 3, 3, 5. Look at that. How crazy is that? 3, 3, 5, just like that. That's great. I love it. For anybody who does not get the joke, or not even, it's not even a joke, the reference. 335 is part of the morphing call for the Power Rangers in space, and as well as when somebody subscribes to the channel, it's included in the subscription alert, like this.
Let's rock it! Rock it!
I did the test alert. I realized I could have just repeat the alert for Atticus, who just subscribed earlier.
Let's rock it! Rock it!
There we go again. So that was just from earlier. That's not Atticus subscribing again. But I love that sub alert so much. Yes, Atticus, I was listening to on the way home. I was listening to some Power Ranger stuff, and I was trying to get Zane's voice down. I can't do it with my stuffed up nose, but Zane's voice is so unique. Have you gotten a chance to watch? They're kind of fan-made YouTube series. Have you watched Shattered Past or Bloodline of the Grid? I watched both of those today, and those are really cool. They're YouTube channels that you've seen. Bloodline of the Grid, yeah, okay. So Bloodline of the Grid has so many original actors. It had Andros, it had Zane. I think, okay, yeah. Shadow Pass is actually kind of cool. I'm like, and the really interesting thing is I saw the most recent episode of Shattered Past, and they're kind of, even though they're done by different YouTube channels, they're kind of crossing those universes over, which is really cool. But Andros is like directing the original actor for Andros is directing the Bloodline of the Grid, which is really cool. And the Andros was in there, Zane was in there, the original Red Psycho Ranger was there. The narration was done by Zordon. Like, I want to see more of that. I hate that it takes so long for them, because like the Shattered Past is like an episode is out like every 5 or 6 months. But those are really, really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing the stuff that JDF is working on as well. He's working on kind of a fan-made Power Rangers project too, and yeah, exactly. The main character from Shattered Past crosses over into Bloodline of the Grid. Legend of the White Dragon. Yeah. That's filming now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that too. Like, there's so much cool. It's kind of crazy that like these YouTube channels are making really interesting Power Rangers content that might be more interesting than the actual Power Rangers content that's being made right now. But I was so fascinated. I watched those today. Right. And that's the thing that's gonna now, the interesting thing is I believe with Legend of the White Dragon, they're not officially branding that as Power Rangers, whereas like Bloodline of the Grid and Shattered Past and all of those use the Power Rangers name still, which I wonder how much they're gonna get away with that, especially with the sale of the franchise. Probably when Saban had it, Saban probably didn't care. Right, yeah, I agree, Atticus, I agree. So I don't think Saban cared if these places were doing it, because it's good publicity for Power Rangers. And if Hasbro had any sense to them, they would also see that it's good publicity for Power Rangers, especially for the older fans. Like, it's really good content for the older fans. But if they want to be jerks, they can easily say, hey, we own Power Rangers, you can't use that name. You could call it Shattered Past and do whatever you want. But you can't call it Power Rangers. You can't use the Time Force. You can't use Omega Ranger. You can't use Lord Draken. We own all of that. And that would just end it. You know, so. But Legend of the White Dragon is definitely, of all of those, definitely going about it the smartest way. I hope they all continue, because I'm fascinated by all of them. But I would love to see an actual Power Rangers thing made like how they're making those shows. They're a little bit more darker and gritty, and, you know, I like the older actors kind of coming back and reprising roles. Like, the original actor for Andros is playing Andros, and that's just really cool to me. But he's kind of like he's like a gritty dude. It's really cool. Anyway, I got sidetracked because I rolled 335. But it is now Yellow's turn to go, and I think I want to get some settlers on the board here. Oh yeah, I wanted to get a settler where the fish is. I could do that. So I put a guy up here. Oh, I need to replace that. I put a guy up there, and so now the islands I need to place are here, here, and there. So that's not necessarily a good thing. I do not have any coconuts, so I can get a coconut from that. That should be in this space. Maybe I'll do that first. Maybe I'll spend my 5. Oh no, I can spend the 3 and round it up because I have a +1 to get a coconut on my turn. I'm getting Tron vibes from this. Yeah, I agree. They are cool. Also, it's a blurry line between fan enthusiasm and free publicity versus copyright infringement. Yeah, exactly. 100%. And that's in any medium. That's in music. That's in... Hell, I'm sure it's in board games. Oh, excuse me, one second. Alright, I hope that mute worked. I did not want you to hear that very loud sneeze. I am not a quiet sneezer. Oh yes, thank you Streamlabs. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is TLN. Rolling with Rock is not hosting an episode of TLN. However, I will be joining your friend Dakota, and your friend Dakota is going on. Let's go ahead and double check that. Your friend Dakota is going on. Why doesn't that show me the time? 9 p.m. Eastern. No, 11 p.m. Eastern. At 11 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night, the 29th, your friend Dakota is going to be live, and they will be playing Blood on the Clock Tower, which is a social deduction game. And we have a pretty fun cast of characters. I'm looking forward to playing that. I've never really played anything like that before, so we're going to have a professional moderator from the makers of the game. And a couple of these people I've played Among Us before. It's a good people of our Among Us group, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it will be a lot of fun. But we have a wonderful lineup of TLN streamers all weekend. Trying to think of what everybody is playing. Board Game Blitz is leading it off again, and this theme of the TLN's going to start doing some themes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And this theme is the Pajama Party. So everybody is going to be in pajamas, or I think some people are going to be wearing onesies, which I thought onesies was going to be another theme. I thought onesies was going to be a different theme than the pajama party one, but I think people are wearing onesies, which is fine. Who else is playing? That is a great question. I can get that answers. But we will be joined by your friend Dakota, myself, Jesse from Heart Board Games, who joined us last night here on Rolling with Rock, Amanda Panda, Dan from Dan Webb Plays, Crystal Dax, Tom from Nerds of the West, Slumber Snack, and Weird Guy. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people that are playing. I forget how many we can have, but that is everybody we have right now. So yeah, it's a pretty good group, I think. I'm pretty excited to play that with them. And yeah, I think it'll be a really good time. Like I said, I've never played the game. I've actually never watched the game either, and I did not plan to watch it. I'm going into it completely blind because I don't want to have any biases towards it. I want to go in without any knowledge about it beforehand. And that may not be the right way to go, but I'm kind of going into it like you're going into... It's different because it's a social deduction and not an escape room, but I'm kind of going into it like if it was an escape room. And with like no knowledge of the theme or abilities or what I'm looking for, any of that. And I think it'll be fun. It'll allow me to improvise a little bit. And I'm hoping to improvise. I'm hoping to maybe RP just a little bit a character. We'll see how I feel. I'm hoping that I feel better by then. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, because one thing that I really like about I like that this is bringing a bunch of streamers together, like we would for an Among Us game, or like they do for the after parties. But because of being Sunday afternoons and my kids are up, I don't really have the opportunity to join in on the after parties. So this is kind of a nice time, 11 o'clock Eastern for me is a really good time for me. That's when I can, especially on a Saturday night, when I can come down and take part in something. I would love to host my own episode of TLN at that time. My gosh, I would be head over heels if I could get an episode of TLN around that time instead of 9 o'clock in the morning on the Eastern Coast. But hopefully sometime that will happen. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great group of people, and TLN this month will be a lot of fun. And we'll see when the next time Rolling with Rock gets to appear again, if it's June or July or farther down the road. But I don't know how many episodes between now and then, but I'm hoping beyond hope that this year's Rocktober, which will be happening again, it'll be a little different this year, but Rocktober will be happening again. And my God, is that coming already? Because we're almost in the June. So I have to start planning for Rocktober. Like, if I don't start planning now, I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to be completely screwed. Because I want to put, not only do I need to do my top 67 games of all time again, which I can't really do that until at least after Gen Con? Because they're going to get more games? I don't know. Maybe I probably can't include games from Gen Con. I'm going to have it filmed before then. That I can't imagine I can do it after Gen Con, because Gen Con's gonna be like the 16th or the 19th, and then I have like 2 weeks. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. If it was August, maybe. But I'm going to have to start filming my top 67 board games all the time. I want to film more reviews. I basically want to be able to put a video up on my YouTube channel every day again, like I did last year, but also stream every day. Like and that's going to be really hard. But the coup de grace, the centering piece of Rocktober this year, hopefully, will be that on October 30th and 31st, hopefully the 30th, I really hope it for a Saturday night, but if it's the 30th, so be it, Halloween. I believe they're planning on doing a costume theme, if we can get that together. But, you know, this is just between me and you guys right now. There's nothing set in stone. And like I said, I don't know if I'll even be on the show. I'm just hoping I will be. I'm hoping to make my TLN stream in a good slot, hopefully, part of like the centerpiece of Rocktober this year, and have a big thing. I don't know. That's just my hope. That's my dream. I'll just like with most things, it'll probably get crushed. But I'm hoping to do a really, really big Rocktober event this year, even bigger than last year. And if you went to my YouTube channel, if you have never been to my YouTube channel, check out my YouTube content. Go to the Rocktober playlist and see how much content I put out in 1 month on YouTube. Most of my YouTube content was done in that 1 month, but I put a lot of effort into Rocktober last year. What Rocktober is now, originally last year, it was the 1 year celebration of my YouTube channel. It will now be the yearly celebration of Rolling with Rock. In the middle of the month, I celebrate my birthday. At the end of the month, we celebrate Halloween, which is my favorite holiday. I love autumn weather, and I just love everything. I love everything about October. So when October becomes Rocktober, just in 4 short months, and my God, are those going to fly by as things start to open up again, and there's so many things to do. It's going to be here before I know it. It's going to be here before I know it, because I can't believe it's almost June already. The fact that we're 3 days or 4 days away from June, my brain is exploding about that. So Rocktober's going to be here before we know it. I want to get some prizes together like I did last year. I might try to reach out to publishers to maybe help me with that, though I can barely get publishers to send me some review copies, so who knows if that will be the case or not. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing something really, really big for Rocktober. I want to get like a really, really good game for that month. I want to get a good sponsor. I want to give away a bunch of stuff, not only from the sponsors, but for myself. I don't know. I just want to go super, super big for Rocktober. We're going to be celebrating the YouTube channel. We'll be celebrating the Twitch channel. And it's just going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun. So if you have any ideas for content that you want to see in Rocktober, please go ahead, shoot me a message on my Discord community space that is part of Ross's More Games Please channel or server. So if you click on that link and you go, hey, wait, this took me to Ross's server, that's the right place, but it should take you to my specific Rolling with Rock channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter. I have Facebook and Instagram, but I don't really use them too often. Twitter is definitely the best place. Phasmophobia would be a great idea for Rocktober. Like, legit, that would be great. I would love to do that in Rocktober. And you know, we play physical board games, we play digital board games, we play video games on the channel. So I am looking for ideas for content like that at all phases. So if you have specific board games you want to see me play, be them physical or digital, if you have video games that you want to see me play, if you have people that you want to see me collaborate with, Horrified. I do not currently own Horrified. I could probably get it. I know it's at Target, and probably as we get closer to Gen Con, the Target games will go on sale, because they usually do. I could probably get Horrified. That's a cooperative game, right, Jedi? I think it's a cooperative game. I could probably sell my game group on it being a cooperative game. Has it been on sale quite a few times? Okay. I just haven't picked it up. Like the classic Universal movie monsters aren't really selling point for me, but I have heard good things. I remember Ambi and Crystal played it on TLN one time, and they had a lot of fun with it, I think. So I could definitely play that. Yeah, I have lots of games, obviously, but like I have the Halloween edition of King of Tokyo, so I could probably play. I could probably have somebody join me on stream and play King of Tokyo with them. That would be fun. I don't know how many people would like to watch King of Tokyo get played, but I'm sure I've got plenty of those. So obviously, I have a lot. I have some, like, I have Mansions of Madness, Eldritch Horror, Elder Sign. I feel like I have something else too. I think I have another one, but I have some horror games. Horror isn't really Disney The Haunted Mansion. I've never even heard of that board game. I know The Haunted Mansion, but I didn't know there was a board game for it. Hocus Pocus we do have. I do have Hocus Pocus. It is on my shelf right over there. We have not played it yet, but I do own that. My one friend in our game group is a huge Hocus Pocus fan. So I bought that for him from Target last year when that came out. I'm trying to think what else I could play. Board game wise. You know what? Do you guys know the board game Broom Service? It's from Aaliyah and Ravensburger. That actually, I mean, that's kind of witches and stuff, right? You own all those games? Well, Jedi, I would love to play with you. Broom Service would be a good one. I guess Harry Potter, just in general, the deck building game wouldn't be bad. Because, you know, witches and wizards and that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to all be, like, Halloween themed, but those are definitely options. I feel like Wingspan's not a bad one. Yep, exactly. The Atticus. That is the designer of that game. I don't mind Broom Service. I think it's a decent one. We've got 3 of the Aliyahs. We've got Puerto Rico, Castles of Burgundy, and Broom Service. Those are the only 3 Aliyahs that I have. But yeah, like I would love to. Good for every holiday. I would love to kind of get those creative juices flowing right now and kind of get ideas for what we can play, when we can play them. Wingspan would be a good name too. Yeah, I think so. I think Wingspan's also one of those ones that can kind of hit like any time period. And Wingspan's just such a good game. But I want to do collaborations with people. I want to get video games and board games played. I really want to make this year's Rocktober even better than last year's Rocktober, but oh boy do we gotta play it. Because last year, I don't know how you guys were following me as of October 2020. Oh boy did Rocktober 2020 kick my butt, because I didn't plan for it at all. I'll take that back. I made a list of what video I was going to make for each day, or I was going to release on each day. You know when I filmed those videos? The day before. You know when I edited those videos? The night of, a lot of times up until like 2 or 3 in the morning. I was so, by the end of Rocktober, I remember that first week of November, I got so ill because I had just run myself into the ground that I thought I had COVID. I got really ill. and I thought I had COVID. I got tested, but I didn't get the results for like 5 days. I was just feeling like crap. So I actually like, stayed down here and away from my family in case I had COVID. I cannot let that happen again. So this year, if I want to be grand, if I want to make Rocktober literally this crazy thing where I have a YouTube video come out every day and a Twitch stream every day, which the Twitch streaming will be fine. It's getting the YouTube content out. I need to plan. I need to plan this stuff. Obviously, when I do my top 67 board games of all time, and I do them in chunks of 5, plus 2 for the 1. Yes, the Halloween, the Halloween Welcome To expansion would be great. That would be great. And I love streaming Welcome To. Welcome To was the first game that I streamed, and I did it twice. I did it for Bing Bong Con and for Gen Con. Those are the first 2 streams I ever did, whereas Welcome To. So that's actually a really good idea too. Jedi. You know how I am with memory? Will you make like a little Google Doc of all these ideas for me? If you have that if you have that ability and that moment, and just like make me a share file. You can send me the link to it in our DM on Discord, and we can just kind of keep working on this, because I would like to work with you and you know, Atticus and any of the regular viewers, what you guys want to see, who you want to see me stream with, because if we start planning now, Rocktober will be great. If I wait till September, either Rocktober could still be great, but it's gonna kick my ass. And I don't want it to kick my ass this year. I want to go into it with a plan. And I'm not usually a guy with a plan. Just to kind of paraphrase the line from the Joker. My Disco cousin Rockstream, awesome. That's fine too. However you want to do it. I just figured a Google Doc. My computer doesn't have Excel, so I just do everything through Google. But I can upload an Excel into Google and it's fine. But yeah, I don't really go into things with plans. So even like the last 2 weeks where I've made like a schedule and put that out on social media is completely new territory for me. And I honestly, I'm struggling with it. Because a lot of times I like just coming down and going, hey, what game do I want to play today? And like lately, it's been okay. But I don't know. Yes, exactly. That's perfectly fine, Jenny, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. But like, there's a lot of times where I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, and that's just me. That's my energy. That's the way that I do things in life. I don't plan stuff. Like, to be completely honest, anytime I've ever tried to plan something or had an idea of how something should go in my head, it goes horribly differently, and I feel extremely disappointed from whatever my plan was. So it's just taught me not to plan for things. Completely improvise. And it's why that for both YouTube content and for Twitch content, I never use a script. I tried my very early content for YouTube, I used a script. And oh boy, did I hate that. I sounded so robotic. I sounded so not me that I just ripped up scripts. I can't use a script. Now, does that lead to me taking 50 takes of something when I'm doing a YouTube content? Sure. But to me, it always comes off more organically if I'm not reading from a script. Now, some people will swear by scripts, and I will say scripts do allow you to be shorter on time, because you will say everything you need to say succinctly, and you won't necessarily do that without a script. But I am a long-winded person as is, and to try to make my points succinctly is not really also being true to myself. So I ad-lib. I go off of what how I feel, and what I'm thinking at the moment. And if I forget something and I come back to it later, so be it. That's how I am. But that is definitely like the energy that I bring to both YouTube and to Twitch. And I hope people realize that. And that won't be for everybody, but that's how I am. Atticus would love to play Heroes of the Grid. Not sure if or how that would work logistically though. Atticus, let's do it. Because it will work very simply. Heroes of the Grid would be on my table. You could have it set up in front of you as well. But all you would need to do, if you can do it, and if you couldn't do it, you wouldn't have to do it. But all you would need to do is have your deck of cards. Have your deck of cards and your character in front of you. And like I said, you could have the game set up if you wanted to. If you could put a camera on your play area with your deck, you don't need the camera on your board because we'll have the board on me. But if you could put a camera on your play area, great. If you can't, you just tell me what cards you're playing. I'll flip them out to show the audience. You just tell me what you're doing on your turn. I'll make it all happen on the board, and we'll play it. Like, that's basically how we're planning it. Eventually, whenever we can actually make it happen with Conrad and Board Game Span, that's basically what we're going to do, or anybody else who wants to play. Everybody's just going to be able to have their, cards in hand. We'll have everybody on the board, and we'll play it that way. Trick Daddy, hello, welcome back. You're fine. No worries, Trick Daddy. You never have to apologize for being here or not being here. I just appreciate when you show up and you say hello. And have a camera on the cards. Yeah, Atticus, that legit would be great. And I would love to play Heroes of the Grid with you. I mean, if we're gonna do October, if we don't do it in October, we could play whoever. But if we're gonna do Heroes of the Grid in October, you know what villain we have to face, right? Atticus, you know what villain we have to face if we're playing in Rocktober. Like, I will find a way to make that villain. Yes! Thank you, Atticus. The Pumpkin Rapper. The greatest Power Rangers villain of all time. I love EC! Eclectic Camo! Do, 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 do. How's it going, buddy? Atticus, I almost bought that. So I have no current Power Rangers memorabilia. I was at Meijer, which is like kind of a better Walmart in the Midwest. And I was at Meijer one time and I saw the Pumpkin Wrapper on the shelf. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to buy that. I didn't. But like if I find that Pumpkin Wrapper on like Facebook Marketplace for a really good price, I'm gonna buy it. Because I do want a pumpkin. I want to get some more stuff up on my shelf. Unfortunately, with the way I've set up the camera now, you guys don't see the top of the shelf anymore. But I have some stuff up there. I have all the Yoshis. I have a couple of the Pokemon. I have Piplup, Vaporeon, Delibird, Alolan Sandshrew. I have a bunch of Pokeballs. Those yarn Pokeballs that I have, that I got from Gen Con. Somebody made me those, so they're really cool. And then I have four pop figures. I have the New Day, which is Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods from WWE. And then I have an Agent Phil Coulson from Marvel pop that I really like too. And that one's actually a bobblehead. That's what I have on the top of my shelf right now. But I definitely want to get some. I want to get some more Pokemon stuff up there. I want to get some Power Ranger stuff up there. I do want to put some things up there. I think I have that one painted in my Heroes of the Grid game too. Oh, nice. And Trick Daddy, that's okay if you've never seen Power Rangers before. It's not for everybody. Like, I'm sure every time I start talking about Power Rangers, Jedi just checks out. But like, I love Power Rangers. I will be a forever fan of Power Rangers, just like I will be a forever fan of Pokemon. And like, I'll be a forever fan of Marvel. Those are legit my top 3 favorite IPs. Potion Explosion. Oh, you're saying for a game? Yeah, Potions. And I have the digital version of that, so we could definitely play. Yes, you. As long as it's not lewd in any way. Yes, you by all means. Atticus, as long as it follows the rules of Ross's Discord, yes, you can post it in the Discord. You see a guy who has the entire collection of Power Ranger helmets? That is really cool. Oh, you did okay, I didn't know if you did or didn't, Jedi. It's family friendly. Then that's fine. Yes, 100% go ahead and post it in there, Atticus. But yeah, like I'll be forever a fan of those IPs. And they're not always going to do something that I enjoy, but I will always still be a fan of them. And like I was listening to. You got Evolution. Awesome, Trick Daddy. Brain in the Jar. Hello, Brain in the Jar. How are you doing this evening? I am doing well. We are currently playing Tungaru from Alley Cat Games. Tungaru. Doop, boop, there you go. This has art from Andrew Bosley, which is best known for the art of Everdell. And the art is, in my opinion, the art is beautiful. Any game, Andrew Bosley also did Jurassic Parks, which we showed off a couple of Sundays ago. Any game that has art from Andy Bosley immediately gets a look from me, because his art is top notch. So, Brain Jar, are you streaming tonight, or did you stream already? I thought, was Thursday one of your nights? I saw your schedule out. You're streaming like 4 or 5 nights this week, and I thought that was awesome. I couldn't remember if you were streaming tonight, but if you guys aren't following Brain in the Jar, please go ahead and follow Brain in the Jar. Make sure you follow Eclectic Camel, who has just stopped in here as well. If you don't know, these are board game streamers. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Tomorrow night. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see so many things. I'm trying to keep a track of my own stuff, let alone everybody else's. It's hard for me. But these are wonderful streamers, and here at Rolling with Rock, we abide by the mindset of a rising tide lifts all boats. So as, you know, Brain in a Jar and Board Game Spam and Eclectic Camel and Dutch Yoda and Games of Fire and even the big ones like Board Game Blitz and Ruel Gavriola and Brothers Murph, as they all grow, our hobby grows. And as our hobby grows, that will lift all of us up. You know, it may not be all at the same time, and it may feel, you know, like some people are being lifted up more than others at times, but just like the waves of an ocean, sometimes you're at a high point and sometimes you're at a low point. But you always come back up and you always go back down. But that they're always going to raise us up together, even if we're not all being raised up at the same exact level. So anytime one of our wonderful friends comes in here that's a streamer, I abide by the rules that Twitch, especially Board Game Twitch, this is a cooperative game. This is not a competitive game. I'm not competitors with Eclectic Camel. I'm not competitors with Brain in the Jar. They are my friends. They are my cooperative players in this game of Twitch. And you should be following every person that I go ahead and give a shout out to. Please go ahead and follow them. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to them. And you're going to get to see even more wonderful board games. And sometimes a lot of these players are playing video games too. And like somebody like Trick Daddy, who's just getting introduced to this hobby, was a chess player. Didn't know any games. We introduced them to Wingspan. We introduced them to Ticket to Ride. Now we've introduced them to Evolution. As we get, we can bring people into the hobby. We don't have to just play board games. We can play games like Fall Guys. We can play games like chess, which I mean technically is a board game. But we can play these other mediums as well, and possibly hook a couple, people, and then bring them into the hobby. And that to me is how we grow. And if I can hook somebody and get them introduced into some of these games, and then introduce them to all of these wonderful streamers, like to me that is, that's a purpose. That is that's goals. That is a way that we can really continue to grow. And you know, unfortunately, not everybody really buys into that mindset, but a lot of people in the board game Twitch community do. And so it really is wonderful, Atticus. It really is. So many people are, even the board game adjacent people who are, maybe they don't necessarily stream board games on their channel, but they are board gamers, are also, like, they're still wonderful in their own ways on Twitch as well. So if I give a shout out to somebody, take that as my ringing endorsement to follow them, because I won't just shout out anybody I don't know. You know, if we give raids, if we get raided by somebody I don't know, I'll probably still give them a shout out. But when somebody comes in, like Eclectic Camel, like Brain in a Jar, like Panic Games earlier, please follow Panic Games as well. All these people, they're all part of our wonderful board game community. We've all started streaming in our own time over the last year, and you know, we're trying to make it together. We're all trying to do this together. Brain Jar says, yes, I am so new to the board game Twitch community and felt nothing but the love here. And I mean, Brain Jar, you've been rocketing. Like, your streams have been amazing. The quality of your streams are good. The viewership and the following counts are amazing. Like, I myself am like, dang, I would love to see that kind of growth again. Like, and I hope that continues for you. I hope you don't hit those lower waves, like some of us have hit at the moment. But I hope I wish you all nothing but the absolute continued success, because you are rocking it, and I've been loving watching your stuff when I can. But after a couple of different tirades, we are playing a game, Tungaru, and I'm sure what happened, but I'm here for the tide and the rocking ocean. Yeah, and like, I'll tell you, like, when I was sick for these last 5 days and I couldn't stream, I was getting in my head hardcore. It wasn't a good place. But now that I'm back streaming again, especially streaming a board game again, feeling a lot better. Even though I lost like 5 or 6 followers over the last week. I don't know if they were bots or what they were. It happens. I don't know why, but it does. But like when you have a ton of followers, you probably would never even notice that. But when you only have so many, when you only have so many followers, you notice each one. And so when numbers drop off, you know, follower wise or viewer wise or whatever, it will play a little bit on your psyche, and you know, that's a reason why, you know, they've added a couple of new tags on Twitch here. One of them is mental health. May is Mental Health Month, so if you have any issues with mental health in any capacity, there is resources there. Twitch has put together a website of resources to help with that. Everybody copes with things differently. Everybody has different levels of issues or how they're feeling, and however you're feeling is fine. Like I said, I was going through not a great patch. I don't know if I'm completely on the other side of it at the moment, but while I'm streaming, I always feel better. I've heard Ruel talk about this. I've heard Ross talk about this. I know plenty of other streamers feel this way too. You can have just the worst day. But the minute you start sitting down to stream and talking with your chat, like when you have a good interaction, when you get good, like, this is fun. I like doing this. Don't get me wrong. But this is what I love. If I was just doing this, I'd do this on YouTube, or I wouldn't even be filming it. I would just play the game. If this is why I did this, was for this, I wouldn't even be doing streaming. But this is what I like. I love the interaction that we can have, the discussions that we have. Hell, we've talked about Power Rangers tonight. Now we're talking about streaming. We're talking about board gamers and how we lift each other up and we make sure that we don't, fall too low. But sometimes you get low, and that's okay. And there you have, if you have friends or you have resources, however you need to get through that, you can. Everybody is here for you. Also, they've added a couple more tags on Twitch. One of them is the ally tag, which I put on my stream for the first time tonight. I 100% am an ally of LGBTQ, and I always forget the rest of the letters, and I do apologize. Communities, I support everybody's right to who they are and who they love. And in June is going to be Pride Month, and I would love to be able to show my support in some way for that as well. One of my best friends is part of that community, and we will make no qualms about it that any hate or any negativity towards those communities is not tolerated here on Rolling with the Rock at any time, not just during Pride Month. So this is a safe space for those who may not feel like they have safe space otherwise, for mental health, for being an ally to our LGBTQ friends, and anybody else who is marginalized in any way. No hate speech or no derogatory comments towards any of those are tolerated here. But yeah, I hope that we make a welcoming space. I hope that we make a fun, engaging space where we can talk about serious things, we can talk about silly things, and we can watch and learn a new board game. I know a lot of people haven't actually... This has been out for a little bit. This was a Kickstarter for, I think, 2019. I don't think it was 2020. I'd have to look at the copyrights. But I can't remember exactly when we got this. It might have been early 2020. But it's been out for a little bit, but I haven't seen it played too many places. And honestly, I think it's a really fun game. I said this before, I'm sure. I get on Twitch to interact with good people. I don't really care about the game. I'm in it for the community and the conversation. Exactly, Atticus. I know that when I go hang out in Mark's channel, I like Marky Mark. I got pulled in when he was playing the Pokemon games. But if he's not playing Pokemon, I don't really usually care about the game that he's playing. But he has a great community. Same with Bonzinator. Other than like Friday nights when we play Mario Kart and Super Smash, I usually don't care about the game that's being played. But I love the community. I can't tell you how many times I tune into the Brothers Mirth and have no idea what's going on in the game. I'll have no clue what's going on in the game. But the community is great. Yes, exactly, Brain in the Jar. 100%. It's nice to watch games, but conversations and people is what will keep you watching. Exactly. And that's, and I don't know admittedly, sometimes there will be times where there's very few people, or if any people in the chats to have those conversations. But even if you've got just one or two people, you can still have fun conversations. And when you're having fun conversations, you can hopefully bring even more people in as maybe they see you having those conversations. And so it's hard. And if you have low viewer counts to do that, but it is possible. And honestly, like I've watched some streamers who I don't know how, some of the big streamers, their chats are just literally flying by. I don't know how they keep up with that. They seem to be able to. It must just be a skill you acquire. Because I feel like I would fall so far behind in chat. Because I watch like Ross from More Games Please or Bonzinator fall so far behind on chat when they're chatting. And their chat goes at a pretty good pace, but nothing like the places that have like tens of thousands of people. And I couldn't imagine that many people. Atticus, the solo chatter on the low number nights are doing God's work. Yeah, and I've been there. I tell you, I'm very much a variety streamer. So not everything I do is going to necessarily appeal to everybody or anybody for that matter. And like I remember we used to play Among Us a lot. And when we would play Among Us, most of our people in our groups would stream. And when I would stream that, is even though I loved playing Among Us and I could make good Among Us content, my Among Us streams were always like my lowest viewed. But one of our other people who would be playing with us, when they would stream, they'd have like 20 people in their stream. You know, it's just, what I found was that people wanted to congregate on one stream, and so they would go to the biggest stream that was streaming. And so it didn't really help the rest of us to stream, other than the fact that we could have it on camera in case something cool happened, and then we could have that filmed. But so the Among Us streams were very, very low viewed for me personally. I've actually done pretty decent with my Fall Guys streams. My Pokemon streams started out really good when I did the beginning of my Nuzlocke, but as the Nuzlocke went on, that kind of faded away too. A couple people here and there. Same with when I was playing the Yu-Gi-Oh game. A couple people here and there. Board games generally do the best for me, but a lot of times it depends on the time of the night. And like I start at 9, but I find as the later I go, usually the counts will get higher, which is great, and I don't mind that. But for me being on the East Coast, that's not necessarily ideal, because like 9 o'clock is about the latest I can start. If I go too much later, because like I go usually from about 9 to midnight ish. If I go later than that, I am putting myself behind, putting my health and things like that in not a great place. But if I was West Coast, that'd be great. If I went live at 11 Eastern, number wise, I think I would do really well. But that's just what I have to deal with the hands that I'm dealt, or play with the hands that I'm dealt, and I don't mind that. I don't mind. I think we're doing really well, and I think it goes pretty well. Legend! Hello, Legend. Speaking of different time zone, our resident Hawaii board gamer is here. So nice to see you, Legends. I hope you're doing well. How many new board games have you played this week, my friend? Trick Daddy says, well, I get off of work at like 8, so any earlier, I always miss stuff, especially people not on the East Coast. Yeah, Trick Daddy, and I totally get that. And everybody's schedules are different. Yes, we are a later stream on the West Coast, and when I raid, often there are only 2 streamers on Matt and Time Roller. Yeah, Matt and Time Roller definitely end up being some of the people that I end up raiding into as well. Legends, we are playing Tungaru from Alley Cat Games. This was a Kickstarter, and it is a really, really good game in my opinion. You play Marvel United and Nidavellir. Nidavellir, the physical game, I've only got to play that as the digital implementation on BGA. Jedi, great point. Earlier in the conversation here, we were talking about Rocktober, and for anybody who doesn't know, which is most of Twitch, Rocktober will be my 1-year anniversary of my Twitch channel, basically, and my 2-year anniversary of Rolling with Rock as a whole, because we started on YouTube. So every October now is Rocktober. And I celebrate my birthday in the middle of the month. We celebrate Halloween at the end. And do we throw rocks in October? I mean, you can. But it worked really well, because October is my birthday month. It's my favorite month of the year. I love the seasons. I love the holidays. I love everything about October. And all I had to do is put an R in the front, and it becomes Rocktober, and it's ROC, just like my name. It just worked. I was like, when I had the stroke of brilliance to call October Rocktober, I was like, I will never have that genius of a moment for branding ever again. But what I'm going to be doing is, so last year, if you were not following me then, if you check out my YouTube channel, you can see the Rocktober playlist, where I put out a different YouTube video. Why did that not give us? I think Streamlabs is just being slow. It might pop up. We'll see. Did I spell YouTube wrong? I don't think so. Did it break? Gotta love streaming. The joys of streaming. But I have a Rolling with Rocktober playlist on YouTube, where every video on my Rocktober went up. And I did a video every Monday through Saturday through all of Rocktober, and then I streamed on Sundays, because I was only streaming on Sundays at that time. Yeah, apparently it's just broken, so that's great. It was working earlier in the night, so I don't know what's going on. I'll play with commands, that's fine. But this year for Rocktober, not only do I want to do a video every day on YouTube, but I want to stream every day here on Twitch. So if you have ideas, I will be doing my top 67 board games of all time. Again, I'll be re-updating that list from last year. And then if you have ideas for specific type of YouTube content you would like to see, if you have ideas for specific types of games or of streams that you would like to see, if you have ideas for people you would like to see me collaborate with, go ahead and throw them in the Discord. If the Discord link works, it probably won't, because apparently the Streamlabs is just broken. When's the last time that Streamlabs even posted a... I don't know what's going on, why. I would love to collaborate with Brain in the Jar. That'd be great. I would love to. Why am I getting words? This should be no words. Instrumental only means instrumental. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It happens. I've seen this happen to everybody before, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, I would absolutely love to do that. And my hope is that when TLN happens in October, that we'll get to be a part of it. Thank you, Jedi. We'll get to be a part of it, and I can make the... Oh! Thank you, Jedi. You're the best. You're absolutely the best. And Rocktober will... The TLN of October will be the centerpiece, the best ending to Rocktober this year. So we're going to be doing a bunch of streams. We're going to be doing a bunch of collaborations, playing a bunch of games that, you know, make sense for October, but don't have to make sense for October. And just filming a bunch of content. And it can be silly stuff, it can be cool stuff, it can be serious stuff, whatever. But a rock and a death hawk, two birds in one tree with a brain. Yeah, I would love to do that. I'd absolutely love to do that. I'm going to blow my nose real quick, so give me 1 second. That is one thing, like, I just recently started doing my community board game night on Wednesdays. And so if you didn't know, on Wednesday nights from 9 p.m. to midnight, I open up my premium membership of Board Game Arena to all of you in the chat, and you guys can play games with us on BGA. And you can propose a game to play, or you can just play whatever I end up choosing. And this week, I had Jesse from Heart Board Games join us as a guest host and player. And next week, on Wednesday, I'm being joined by Matt from the Silver Meadow Tavern. And my hope is that every week we can have a new guest join us for Community Board Game Night. So, you know, I would love to... Yes, we definitely have to play Raja's Dice and Arnak with Jedi. Both of those games were a lot of fun. But yeah, my hope is just to keep doing that every single week. I don't have any ideas for games that we're gonna play with Matt. If Matt wants to play a specific game, we'll totally do it. Or if any viewers that are there that want to play, we're gonna totally do it. Next week, Awesome. Thank you, Jedi. I appreciate that. You're absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for everything you do for this channel. Next week, Matt will be guesting with us from 9 to 11:30, because at 11:30 we are going to stop Community Board Game Night 30 minutes early and turn on our Nintendo Switch, and then welcome in, and I'll have to talk to Matt to see if he wants to stick around or not. I know he's streaming at midnight, so he'll probably want to get going. But we're going to welcome in Bonzinator, Crystal Dax, and Eclectic Camel, and we are going to play Mario Party, Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch online 4-player, and I am so excited for that. So next Wednesday is just full of guests here on Rolling with Rock. We're going to have the Silver Meadow Tavern, we're going to have Crystal Dax, we're going to have Bonzinator, and we're going to have Eclectic Camel. All wonderful people. Everybody, I've actually streamed with all of those people before, because I was a guest on Silver Meadow Tavern. I have streamed with Crystal both with Among Us and Fall Guys before. I was a guest on Eclectic Camel stream when we played Marvel Champions, and Bonzinator and I have streamed together when we play Team Rock versus Team Bonds for Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. And so I've actually streamed with all these people, which is actually really fun. But yeah, I'm always looking for more people to play games with us on Community Board Game Night. So, Brain in the Jar, if I know you guys, I think you guys stream on Wednesdays. But if there's ever a time that you want to join me for Community Board Game Night and kind of co-host that, by all means, let's make it happen. Because I would love to do that as well. And I want to bring in, people every week. Because I think it kind of mixes it up a little bit, gives it a fresh feel. It's a little, like, other people are doing community board game nights, but I don't see anybody else having guests every week doing community board game nights. So I wanted to give my version of that just a little bit different flair. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really, I think it'll start to take off as more people learn about it. Wednesday's kind of it's getting busier, just like Sunday night. So when I started back in September, Sunday night was dead for board games. Nobody was streaming on Sunday night. And that's why I picked it. Because I was like, well, I can't compete on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. And I some of my friends were streaming on Wednesday, so I didn't want to stream on Wednesday. So I was like, you know what? Sundays actually work really well for me. So why don't I pick Sundays? And so I picked Sunday at 9 p.m. and I was streaming, and it was at first, like, honestly, they were going really, really well. And as more and more people have become streaming, Sunday nights have gotten busy, Wednesday nights have gotten busy, and I'm just like, I mean, it's great, and that means more eyes are getting on board games. But so it's trying to find things that are unique is important, and so I think by crossing these I almost said something from Ghostbusters, and I guess I'm going to say it anyway. Crossing the streams. By crossing the streams, in this case, is a good thing. Unlike, the Ghostbusters say, even though they end up doing that. I think it's really good for all communities involved. Like, I thought it was really cool that Jesse last night, because on Wednesday nights, Hard Board Games also does community board game night with games with chat. And so they were playing games with their chat, and when they ended their stream, they raided over into my stream. And then we played games over on my stream, and that was just a really, really cool thing. And, like, I know, like, I could, on next Wednesday, when, Matt from Silver Meadow Tavern is going to join me. He usually starts streaming at midnight, my time. So when Mario Party is over, I'm going to raid into Silver Meadow Tavern. So he's going to join us. He'll go. We'll play Mario Party. And then when Mario Party's done, we'll raid in the Silver Meadow Tavern. And I think it's great cross-exposure. It's a great way to, like, Twitch itself doesn't do a great job of showing you other streams. But the ability to co-stream, the ability to have guests on your stream, the ability to raid into somebody that somebody may not know. Like recently, there's a newer streamer named Bearable One, who just got into board gaming streaming, like in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. We've raided them a bunch. It might even be longer than that because time's been flying for me. It may be longer than that, but we've been raiding them into a bunch to try to get some eyes onto their channel, and they've reached affiliate already, and which is great. Like I'm super happy for them, and that's something that we as board gamers do really, really well. Is when we find somebody newer to the hobby, and Brain in the Jar, you experience this firsthand. We try to support them. We try to show them, you know, all of the support that we can to welcome them into this board game Twitch life, because it is a lot of fun, but if it can be hard if you start streaming and there's just nobody there. It's hard to stream to a low number, and if nobody knows you, nobody can find you. And so it's really helpful when like a big stream like a Ruel or a Bonzinator will raid into you and bring 50, 40, 30 people with them, and you're just like, you know, not all those people are going to follow, not all those people are going to you know, necessarily be a viewer for you in that moment, but they will at least know of you then. And at that, like, that's more than half the battle. Just getting people to know you when you just start out in anything, not just in Twitch, but in anything, any sort of content creation, any sort of creation in general, that you're making a product in some way. Just getting known is like, I mean, you know, you look at brands that have just been, you know, I'm trying to think of an example. Tissues. This is Kirkland brand, but tissues. What do you think of when you think of a tissue? You think of a Kleenex, right? Because they've had a brand, and they've built that brand empire. So when you know, we call certain items by their brand name, which is crazy, but we do. And somebody may make a better tissue, but if nobody knows that place makes a better tissue, they're going to buy the tissue that they know, or the tissue that's cheap, depending on their situation. And that's the same thing in Twitch, right? I have seen some streamers who make amazing content, not just in board games, but just in general. Make amazing content, who are entertaining and who are funny and do a great presentation here on Twitch, but have low viewer counts because nobody knows them or nobody can find them. And that is when somebody goes out of their way to show their viewers your stream, it means so much. And that's why I always appreciate, and I know everybody in Board Game Twitch always appreciates every raid that is given. Raids are so important. I honestly believe that a stream, unless there's literally nobody on Twitch, which is never the case. Maybe at the late night for Legends. But like we should always be raiding into somebody to pass that along, because people are raiding into us. We should always be raiding into somebody. I really do think that is an extremely important thing to do. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's so many people on right now. There's so many wonderful streamers on. I just took a look. Board Game Geek's on, Ruel's on, Bonzinator's on, Board Game Blitz is on, Time Roller's on, D-Foob's on, Poly People's on, Board at Home is on. Oh my gosh. Board Game Spam's on. Olmec Guru's on, playing chess. Dyson Men is on. Hey, Dyson Men is on. I thought they were taking a break. They're back. Awesome. I might have to raid into Dyson Men just because I really like Chad from Dyson Men. He does a great stream. One of the people that I think that doesn't get enough love in the board gaming world, because he does a really good stream. But let's try to get. I mean, should I get back into this game? I guess I should. I've been having a great time talking. We can keep talking, but I'll try to play a couple turns here. It looks like it might be Red's turn. It looks like it might be Red's. Oh, I think what it was I had to choose cards for people. I think I took an action, and I shouldn't have took an action. I think I needed to pick a card. What am I wanting here? I took a coconut. Why was I wanting the coconut? To get this guy? I guess so. I might play my worker, to be honest. I'm gonna play the worker, and that'll give me an extra die this turn for yellow. And I roll a 2, that's fine. And what does red want? Red wants... I can fill in this space. Does red want to sail? Maybe? I might let red be the fisher this time. So we're gonna let them be the fisher. So they're gonna get a fish. Alright, so let's go ahead and... They took an action. They got a coconut. Red's turn. Red wants to maybe get this guy to get another monument down. They need a fish, a shell, and a coconut. They don't have a fish. Oh, yes, they do have a fish from the fisher. Well, they can just take that then. So that's cool. So let's go ahead and take that. For the fish, the shell, and the coconut. Oh, I think they did go. No, I think that was last turn. They sold the pearls. Sold the pearls last turn. So let's go ahead and take that character. We'll take this one from here. Flip these over. When these piles all run out is when the game will end. But that'll go pretty quickly. Hey, could I interest in a 3D version of Catan for the low price of 3? Oh my gosh, I saw that. Like, there will be people who buy that. There will be. And don't get me wrong. Like, if somebody came to me and was either a brand new gamer or just for some reason their favorite game was Catan, and they said, "Hey, Rock, I want to play a game with you." Okay, what game do you want to play? I want to play Catan. I go, cool. But I own an older Mayfair version of Catan, and I can't look. We played that game like crazy. I have gotten many plays of that game. 20, 30, 40 plays of that game probably. I don't really ever need to play it again. I keep it on my shelf in case I have somebody who is newer to games. But like, I probably will never play Catan again. I definitely won't be spending $300 on the 3D version of it. Oh, yeah, if it was $300 for a 3D version of... I don't even know what to equate it to. I mean, let's be honest. I put a hell of a lot more than $300 into Scythe. I could guarantee that. Yeah, exactly, Atticus. That's exactly my same thought. Like, I know I put a lot more than $300 into Scythe. I don't want to talk about how much I put into Marvel United. So like for game, yeah, and if Catan just happened to be a game that somebody loved, go for it. Obviously they're making it for a reason. Somebody wants it if they're making it, because they're not making that and then because they didn't kickstart it. You put games much more than $300 into Marvel Legendary. Yeah, I don't know if I have $300 in Marvel Legendary. I have a good bit in Marvel Legendary. I know we have like the top 3 games that we've spent money on easily: Scythe, Marvel United, and the Lord of the Rings the Living Card Game. Those are the 3 most expensive games in my collection right now. For money spent on them. I definitely see Wingspan will keep going up because I will buy every expansion for Wingspan. Yes to all those games mentioned for me too. And I paid close to that for the new Hero Quest. Ooh yeah. I'm trying to think of any other games. Honestly, if my game group liked Power Rangers Hero of the Grid more, they don't mind it. They'll play it with me. But like I love it, and they're kind of just like, okay, if they liked it more than they do, I'd probably spend that much money on Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Because I love Heroes of the Grid. And you guys know I love Power Rangers. And there's so much content. Like, I don't even own the in-space thing for Power Rangers. Like, that is the next box I want to get. I want to get the in-space box. I was kind of disappointed. I reached out to Renegade, and I was like, yeah, I had lined up a demo copy for a game from them. For a game called Embargadero. And then they came back to me and said that they had less copies than they thought they had, and so I won't be getting a copy of that anymore. And, okay. But I also asked them about the Transformers deck builder, as well as Heroes of the Grid, because I kind of explained, like, hey, I've got this thing lined up where I'm going to be playing Heroes of the Grid with other streamers, and we, want to do this series, and I'd like to, if you want to send me more content, I'd love to feature it. And they were kind of just like, yeah, we don't send Power Ranger stuff out. And I was like, okay. So I kind of got shut down by Renegade, but that's kind of par for the course lately. I've been kind of getting shut down from everyone, which kind of sucks. Like I feel like I'm saying the right things and being nice, but has anyone ever played Plague Inc? Well. Bob? Bob! Yes, I have played Plague Inc. I don't remember how long ago it was, but a while back, I played Plague Inc. actually on stream. I actually didn't even. Well, you want? Yes, I have. I know. I own a game, and I actually played it, Jedi. I know it's crazy. I know everybody's not gonna believe that because there's so many games on my shelves that I haven't played before. But I have played this multiple times. In fact, multiple times. I played. There was a stream where I played Plague Inc. And then it was when I was doing my Pandemic series on the Switch, and I played Plague Inc. on stream, and then I played one of the Pandemic games on Switch, and I did that all on one stream, and that actually worked really well. I actually like Plague Inc. a lot. I think this is a great implementation of the video game. To bring a video game into board game world, I think this is probably one of the better ones. It's pretty fun. Didn't know there was a board game. I've not played Plague Inc., but I remember hearing about it. Is the Reversement Pandemic? Okay, kind of. So that I interrupt this game of Tungaru to show you the board of Plague Inc. And the reason I'm going to show you the board for a very specific reason. So people. It was fun back when it came out. I definitely overplayed it. Now I feel like that's a lot of video games. Video games that really happens with video games. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to show you the board of Plague Inc. And the reason I'm showing you the board is because the theme of the game, thematically, yes, this is Reverse Pandemic. However, gameplay-wise, it's nothing like Pandemic. So, country cards will come out here. This is an area control game. This is an area control action selection game. You will have a map like this, where you will have different traits for your disease. And these will all give you different powers, different actions, and you're trying to increase your infectivity, which allows you to put out more cubes on the board. And your lethality is, so when you roll the death die, I refuse to call it the death dice because there was only one of them. And it specifically says that they didn't want to call it a death die because that was confusing. And it was like, a death die is not confusing. I understand what you're saying, just call it a death die. There was only one of them. When you roll the death die, if the whole country is infected, even if it's not infected by your disease, if you have the majority, you get to roll the death die. And if you roll a number that is greater, equal to your lethality or higher, you're good. So it's very much an area control game. You get traits, you do action selection. It is fun though. I would say if you enjoyed the video game, you would probably enjoy the board game. Just don't go into the board game expecting Pandemic, because it is not Pandemic. We have a 3-minute word ban on the word game. The funny thing is that on that shelf, Play Inc. is only one of two that I've actually played on there. All right. Let's go ahead and get our clock out. Put my headphones back on, because I don't think I need to grab anything else off the shelf unless you guys sidetrack me again, which is great because I love that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and hit start on 3 minutes on our word band. Thank you, Eclectic Camel, for that word band, and we will get back into this playthrough. To have a rock con, that would be a lot of fun. I would love that. Not even sorry. You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry at all. I remember trying to infect Greenland was a nightmare. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Ray, and sorry to distract. I'm now browsing various sites to possibly buy more. Gasp. I'm trying to think of another word to even put in for that. And I'm like, I don't really have anything. Activity? Board activity? Board... What is another word for that word even? I don't even... Playable activity? A board playable activity? I got nothing. I got nothing how to replace that. Usually I could come up with something creative or something funny to replace a word, and I'm just blanking. But hopefully I don't say that word in the next minute and 50 seconds, and I can just say a board activity or a board playing activity. Something we play here on the table. A tabletop activity, so to speak. But yeah, I try not to buy too many tabletop activities throughout the year. But when we go to Gen Con, a board contest, that's another good one. That's another good one, because when we go to Gen Con, I will be purchasing many board contests again. I am sad that there won't be any auction or consignment shops this year, because there are many board activities on my shelves currently that would do better at other homes, and someday we'll be able to make that happen, but it won't be this year. So, but that's one thing to do. So getting back into our current activity, our current contest, where we were playing Tungaru, which is a very fun board activity. I don't know if I've been able to equate that well. So, one way or another... Man, I got my stupid nose. I'm feeling better, but my nose is still like, nah, we're not feeling better. Gen Con didn't happen this year anyway. Oh, I'm sorry, Jen. I think it is yellows. Red did something. Red had to spend a... Where did Red just... Oh, there is our timer. We successfully did not say game for 3 minutes. thank you, Eclectic Campbell, for that. I do appreciate it. I need to come up with more, and if you guys have more ideas for channel point redemptions, please go ahead and let me know. There is also at the very bottom there is the 5,000 redemption of pick a game for me to play. That is fairly new to the channel. Nobody's actually redeemed that yet, but you can actually go to the bottom of my about page and click on my collection. I have about half my collection loaded onto BGG. I need to load the other half on. We might do that for maybe when we get to 400 followers. We'll do the second half of the collection. So maybe that's a goal. So if you want to see me do the second half of my collection, which has some interesting games in it, spread the word. Let's get the 400 followers, and we'll do another Q&A. And because I think that stream went really, really well. I honestly do. I think that went really, really well. So yeah, let's go ahead and they did something. Where did they take this person from? I don't even remember. Oh, it was here. They have to put a monument down. And they had to put a die down. We'll just put a 3. I don't know. They had to do something. I'm so caught up in talking, which is great. I love that. I don't know how other people like play a game and talk though. Like I'm really, really bad at doing both. I try. I do try. But oh boy, is it hard. Okay. I want to also go here with my... We'll do the 3. And we're going to use the coconut and the pearl and recruit this guy. And that allows us to put a monument on this island. Now, the question is, who do we want to replace? If anyone. This is just a free sale. I think I'm not going to replace that. I think I'm just going to put them face down, which is fine. Let's go ahead and take that one there. Okay. So recently, and I'm sure I'm getting biased on it from doing a board game stream right now. Recently on Twitter, I ran a poll that I was hoping to get more interactions from, but I only got 7 votes. I ran a poll that was basically asking, like, when you watch my channel, what content do you watch? Do you only watch board games? Do you watch board games more often than video games? Do you watch video games more often than board games, or do you watch only video games? And I was actually really interested to see the results. It was, of the 7 people, 3 people said they watch the video games content more than the board game content. 2 people said that they watch the board game content more than the video game content. And 2 people said they only watch the board games. So it made it look like video games won, but when you actually skew the numbers, it was 4-3 board games, kind of. With some people watching, most of the community watching both video games and board games. Never even saw it. It happens. I tried to retweet it a bunch of times, but I don't know if that actually works. I'll probably end up running the same poll again, maybe over the weekend. But I'm trying to collect data on what I can do on the channel. Cause I kind of like the balance right now with the community board game night on Wednesday, another board game night, which I don't know if it's going to stay as Thursday. I might actually move the other board game night to Monday. We'll see. Thursdays are just really busy in Board Game Twitch, which I thought maybe that would lead to more raids at the end of the night around this time. But to be honest, it really hasn't. So So I might move this night to Monday nights. We'll see how that goes. I try to come whenever I have free time, but not gonna lie, most interested in board games, whether it be real board games or online board games. I think that's the wrong weather, but oh well. Yeah, and that's fine. And that's good, Trick Daddy. That's great to know, and I'm really happy that we've introduced you to a lot of new games. And like I play, just as a general thought, I play light to medium weight board games. I don't really play super heavy stuff. So that's going to be great for people who are being introduced to the hobby. Whereas I know like some of the streamers out there stream really streaming like some heavy stuff. And that's going to be a little bit more hard for a new viewer to get into, because they're not even going to understand the concepts of the game or like what's going on. Now, the entertaining factor of the streamer will, do that as well. But I think the level of games that I play is very new viewer friendly, because I don't play anything super complex. I don't play like this game here is. I bet you I don't know what it's rated. I bet you on BGG this is probably like a 2.2. I don't even know. Let's find out. Let's see how well I am. Honestly, I don't even know anything about Kanban, so I couldn't say. I don't know if that's a joke. I'm assuming that's a joke. I know nothing about Kanban. Let's just go ahead and put in Tungaru. So this was 2020. See what the weight is. 3? They really think this? There's no way. There's no way this is a 3. Really? This is so simple. I think this is overweighted, just like Scythe's overweighted. Because at the end of the day, you're doing 6 actions. There's only 6 different actions to do. Just like Scythe, there's only 4 different actions to do. That's crazy. I would never have guessed that this was weighted a 3. I think that's wrong. I 100% disagree. Because usually if it's over 3, I'm not really into it. Usually, to be honest. I think that's wrong. All the icons look intimidate, but but that doesn't add to the weight of the game. Maybe my understanding of what the weight is maybe my understanding of weight is wrong. Combat is a 4.34. Oh god, yeah, I'd never touch that. Like I could not touch that with a 39.5-foot pole. Nope. And let me guess, it's like a 4-hour game too, right? Dice Theme Park is weighted. Yeah, I did know that Dice Theme Park was slightly weighted higher than Dice Hospital. However, with Dice Theme Park, it's a dice placement game about a theme park. And I love theme parks and I love dice placement, so I'm giving it a chance. Scythe is definitely... See, I vehemently disagree with Scythe being a 3. I disagree 100%. I think Scythe is a super easy game. I don't think it's heavy at all. When you look at Scythe, yes, it is intimidating. I get that. But when you boil it down, every turn you can do one of 3 actions. Because unless you're the Roosevelt, you can't do the same action you're on. So that means you can only ever do one of 3 other actions. But isn't complexity weight? Isn't that what weight is? Weight is also depth. Well, I mean, maybe I'm not understanding depth then. I mean, to be honest, I use one eye, so I don't have good depth perception. I don't use this eye. I don't use it. I could wear an eye patch. I don't use it. So I don't have good depth perception. So apparently I don't have good depth perception when it comes to board games too, and that's fine. No, it is not a joke. It's 100% not a joke. I don't use this eye. I don't use it. I can literally do this, and it doesn't change anything that I'm doing. I don't use it. I only use this eye. This eye is 20/20. This eye is ideal. I don't use this eye. I could literally stream like this for the rest of the time, and I understand that you're saying depth of strategy. I'm just making a transition. Weight is defined by the voter. I can't even kid because I connect a camera calling me a goose. I love it. You're such a great dude. Weight is defined by the voter on BGG as for the understanding of what it means to them. Right, and let's be honest. The numbers on BGG in itself are not to be trusted. I'm sorry, and when I go to the top 10 board games on BGG, I hate about 9 of them. Board games. Gloomhaven. You're never going to get me to play Gloomhaven. Pandemic Legacy Season 1? Good game. Not a great game, a good game. Brass Birmingham. You're never going to get me to play Brass Birmingham. Terraforming Mars. A okay game, highly overrated in my opinion. Twilight Imperium. You would have to kill me 27 times before you got me to play that game in the afterlife. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. I might actually give Gloomhaven Jaws of a Lion a try, just because it is a shorter version of Gloomhaven. Gaia Project. I'm pretty sure Gaia Project is just an updated Terra Mystica, and I hate Terra Mystica. I would like to burn Terra Mystica at the stake. Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. If I'm going to play a civilization game, I'm going to play Civilization A New Dawn. That takes about a third of the time to play and is actually much more interesting on the table. Star Wars Rebellion. I actually know nothing about Rebellion. It might be a great game. I know nothing about it. But I'm not really a Star Wars fan, so I probably would never play that. Twilight Struggle. I love the digital adaptation of Twilight Struggle. I would never play Twilight Struggle on the board because it would take me forever to play. It takes me forever to play the digital version, and the digital version is quick. And that's the top 10. That's the top 10. That's the top 10. Well, I have to own the game, Trick Daddy. That's the question. That's the kicker with redeeming the 5,000. The thing. I have to own the game. But even going into the next 10, Great Western Trail. Probably never going to play Great Western Trail. Spirit Island. I tried to give Spirit Island a chance, but oh my gosh, when I went to the demo booth at Gen Con the one year, the demo person was so pushy. I was like, nope, I'm out, and I'm never doing this game. War of the Ring. I love Lord of the Rings. However, that game looks so intimidating for me. Scythe. Scythe is like the one exception, and it's because I don't think Scythe is as complicated or as complex as they say it is. I really think it is a very simple game at its core. Castles of Burgundy, I'm not really super high on. It's not my favorite Feld game. It's not a bad game, but it's definitely not the 15th best game in the world to me. Terra Mystica. There's Terra Mystica that I told you about. I would love to burn at the stake. Seven Wonders Duel. This is like the first game on the list. This is, other than Scythe, which I love a lot. This is like the first game on the list, and we're like, yes, this is a great game. This is a game that's for me. This is a game that I love. Seven Wonders Duel. It's not my favorite game. It's not even in my top 10. But Seven Wonders Duel is a great game and does deserve to be high. Concordia. I don't really know much about Concordia. Brash Lancaster, just like Brash Birmingham. Don't care to ever play. Wingspan. Wingspan at number 20 is a travesty. Wingspan at 20 is legit. Blows my mind. That should be so much higher on that list. Wingspan is, in my opinion, a top 5 game of all time. It is so accessible. Anybody from the most brand new person in board gaming to the most veteran board gamer for 40 years can play Wingspan and can enjoy Wingspan. And they're going to continue to add expansions to it. Wingspan, out of any game on this list, deserves to be towards the top, in my opinion. Again, Feast Devoted, probably never touched that. Arkham Horror, the card game. I don't really like Cthulhu. but I know Arkham Horror has some a little bits of, like, Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings, Arkham Horror, the cooperative ones are all kind of, have their own little thing to them, so that's fine. I never even heard of Nemesis. Viticulture Essential Edition. Without Tuscany, yes. With Tuscany, GTFO. And I know that is a hot take that most people won't like, because almost every single person I talk to say, oh, you need to play with Tuscany. No, Tuscany is shit. All Tuscany does is add 2 more hours of gameplay to that game for no reason and just adds more complexity, makes you think longer, it adds more analysis paralysis. Never play Tuscany with somebody who has analysis paralysis. It will just cause you so much pain and grief. I will never play Tuscany again. I like Viticulture, I will never play Tuscany again. And I could go rant on this, on all these games. Because they're either games that I probably will never play because they're too complex, or, you know, I've heard good things about Orleans. I don't know if it's a game that I would play or not. I've heard good things about it. There's so many games on here that I just never played. Mage Knight, I never even heard of. Root, obviously I know Root, but it's a combat game. I'm not really into combat games, so I've never played it. I have the digital version. I'd love to play the digital version sometime to learn the game, but I've never played it before. Puerto Rico. We have Puerto Rico. I can't say I've played Puerto Rico in 10 years. I don't even remember anything of the game at this point. Everdell. Everdell, I like the game Everdell. I can't stand the company that makes the Everdell with a passion. And so I haven't played Everdell in like 2 years, even though I like it. Because I don't like the company. Futane Magnate. That game just looks too expensive for me to ever pick it up. Caverna and Agricola are back to back. I hate games that you have to feed your workers. I hate that mechanism. I hate it a lot. I think that Caverna and Agricola themselves are good games. I feel like they are good games. But I hate feeding my workers every single round. And so while I own Agricola the Family Edition, I hardly ever play it. Blood Rage, another game that I own the digital version of, but I've never played. I know nothing about it. I don't know if it's a game that I would play or not. Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. To me, Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition is a great game. It's a great system. I'm just not into Cthulhu. I'm not into Lovecraft. However, Lord of the Rings, the deck building, not the deck building, Journeys in Middle-earth. The deck building game's crap. Don't play the deck building game. Journeys in Middle-earth, which is basically Mansions of Madness, but Lord of the Rings, which is an IP that we love, should be higher on this list. I think the only reason that Mansions of Madness is higher above the Lord of the Rings game is because people apparently lose their stupid minds over Cthulhu. I don't get it. I don't know why board gamers love Cthulhu too much. I own a couple of Cthulhu games. I didn't say I bought them. Okay? I own a couple. Yes, I own Elder Sign. Yes, I own Eldritch Horror. Yes, I own Mansions of Madness. I didn't buy any of those. I don't like Cthulhu. I don't like Lovecraft. Here we go. Pandemic Legacy Season 2. This is criminal that this is at 35. This is criminal. Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is the best of the Pandemic Legacies, in my opinion. Not everybody shares that opinion. Very few people share that opinion. But what you do in Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is so good compared to Season 1. Season 1, you're just playing Pandemic. You're just playing Pandemic. Season 2, it flips everything on its head. The story's better in Season 2. The gameplay's better in Season 2. Even thematically, it makes more sense. Because in Season 2, you're working supply lines instead of curing diseases or treating diseases, and then more diseases are just popping up out of nowhere. Oh look, some random disease just showed up in Toronto, even though this blue disease wasn't anywhere around Toronto before, but now it's there. Oh, I gotta go over to Toronto and cure it. Whereas in Pandemic Legacy Season 2, you put cubes out, and then when the cards come out, you remove the cubes to show that you're using supplies. Supplies have been used. It just makes so much more sense. The point of putting them down preemptively and then having them get used makes so much more sense than having cubes come out of nowhere and then you have to go and treat those cubes. It makes more sense. The theme of the game is better. The exploration of Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is better. And now, of course, this is all my opinion. And if you love Season 1 or you love Season 0, great. I love both of those games too. But I just love 2 the most. And the fact that that is at 35th on this list is criminal. Criminal. I own parts of 7th Continent. Odd story. I bought like a first edition copy of 7th Continent. I don't really even know what I all have. I need to download like rules and a little bit of extra content to be able to play it. I'm interested in it though. I bought it for like really, really cheap though. I've never played Maracaibo, never really heard of it. The Crew I own, but I've never played. I've heard good things. Kingdom Death Monster I would never touch. Marvel Champions, love Marvel Champions. Collected Camel, Marvel Champions, we love it. Zolkin I've seen played. I don't think it's a game that I would really like. Underwater Cities I don't really know much about. Power Grid, you couldn't touch that with a 29 5-foot pole. Anachrony is another game I don't think I'd ever touch. Too Many Bones is another game I don't think I'd ever touch. Mechs and Minions is probably not a game I wouldn't touch. Star Wars Imperial Assault I would never touch. Clans of Caledonia I don't really know much about, but I don't think that's one. Clank Legacy, I'm surprised Clank Legacy is in the top 50. I haven't played it yet, but I like Clank, so. And then Le Havre is just another one that I probably wouldn't touch. So yeah, that's just the top 50. There were very few games in that top 50 that I said I love. There were very few. But I love, if you go to my top 67 board games of all time, there's lots of games I love. You will see me rave, not rant, you will see me rave about some board games that I love that are just not in this list. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's me ranting on a bunch of games. Let's see if this. I'm not going to talk about every game, but I'm going to see if there's any other games on this list that are just games that I love. This is not really. There's not really. Seven Wonders, which we kind of talked about. Seven Wonders Duel. Clank. Arnak is 87th. Arnak is 87th. And I did enjoy Arnak. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth is 91. What was Mansions of Madness? Mansions of Madness was 34. So basically the same game, just rethemed, and you go from 34 to 91. And in my opinion, Journeys in Middle-earth is better. Ouch. Codenames. Codenames is fun, but I don't think it's the 96th best game of all time. Okay, Trajan coming in at 99. Trajan's almost getting kicked out of the top 100. But Trajan at 99 I agree with, and I like Trajan. I do like Trajan. It's one of the few, it's my favorite Feld, and a big reason it's my favorite Feld is because it's Roman themed. But I do like Trajan. I don't play it often. I won't bring it to the table often. But if I can play it once or twice a year, I'm happy. And I do like it for that reason. I think it's nice. Most of those games, like, meh. Yeah. I just don't agree with the BGG list at all. And that's okay. That's not a problem. I don't mind owning that. Atticus, I would agree with that. I think they need to fix that. Because the fact that you can't just play a single scenario is really, really, really hurting them. I would agree with that. Because the gameplay of LOTR and the theme of LOTR, at least for me, personally, is much better than Mansions. And I think Mansions is a great game. Like, I do believe Mansions belongs up there. Yeah, I don't know either, Atticus. And it took them... They've put out a couple of expansions for it, though mostly just... They only had one, like, slightly big expansion. Whereas for Mansions of Madness, there's been like 20 expansions. There's been so much content for Mansions of Madness. I don't know. I'm assuming it's just not selling like Mansions of Madness because I guess there's not as many board game LOTR fans as there are Lovecraft fans, which that just seems insanity to me. That people are like Lovecraft more than LOTR. I don't get it. But if they do, cool. But there's just so much Mansions of Madness content. There's so much, and there's not that much LOTR. I mean, it's fantasy play. They're gonna make whatever makes them money. Why is there so much Star Wars content? Because it's what that makes them money. Why is there not a lot of Marvel content? Because it doesn't really make them much money. Why is there not a lot of LOTR? There's hardly any LOTR content because it doesn't make them much money compared to Star Wars, and I guess compared to Cthulhu. I don't know. I had so much hype for 7 content. I played it with someone after they got their Kickstarter copy. Are you saying that you did not like 7th Continent then? Because I've never seen gameplay of it, but I heard really good things. You liked Sulkin, and you have a copy of all Pandemic Legacy games and Clank Legacy. Haven't found people to play with. Yeah, that sucks. I'm so sorry about that, Jedi. I really think that the notes, yes, we read all that. And you did enjoy the LOTR more than Mansions. I haven't found a Star Wars game that I absolutely love either. Well, apparently Rebellion is the highest one. I don't know anything about Rebellion. I don't know if it's good or not. I do know last night when I was talking about Star Wars, Jesse mentioned Rebellion. It made it sound like it was a good game. I know nothing about it. Didn't like 7th Continent as much as I thought I would. Yeah, I run into games like that a lot sometimes. And then sometimes like I run into a game like this, Tungaru, where I like a lot more than I thought I would. Honestly, Marvel United was that way for me too. I didn't think I was going to like Marvel United as much as I do. And I'm definitely going to be playing more. Now, the X-Men Mutant Insurrection game I liked, but it's definitely lower on my list of Marvel games. A good pirate game. There's a lot. It depends on what you want to be doing, but I'll show you a game that I got a lot of play out of when we were just getting into the hobby. So here's 2 different games. The first game that we have is from Days of Wonder, and this is called Pirates Cove. And this one's pretty interesting. I don't feel like it's too heavy of a game. Plays 3 to 5, so you have to have 3 people to play it. But you will go around to these different islands, and only one player can be at every island, and if more than one player goes to an island, you have to battle each other. And the winner will get to stay at the island, and the loser has to go back to Pirates Cove and heal up for the turn. We played this one quite a lot in our early board gaming days. It has these cool pirate meeples too. Or pirate ship meeples, I should say. Here is your player board, where you have sails, men, cannons, and hull. And all of these are stats that will come into play when you battle and things like that. And you saw the board. This game was not happy to be sat on its side. Like most games, not happy to be sat on their side. You choose your way of going via these little discs. So you do this hidden, and you choose like, oh, I'm gonna go this way because they all have symbols on the board, and then you flip it over all at the same time and show where you go. And then where are the ships? Oh, they're right here. Yeah, they have these cool little ship meeples. Wish I could kind of maybe show that off. Yeah, there we go. I don't know. I think that was kind of cool. I don't think too many people know about this game. It's a fairly old game from Days of Wonder. But we got a lot of play and a lot of enjoyment out of this game. So that is one pirate game that I would say. I see that Tiny Epic Pirates was mentioned. I never played Tiny Epic Pirates. I have played Tiny Epic Quest and Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, and both of those are good, so Tiny Epic Pirates is good too, probably. Another one I actually like, it's not really pirate themed, but it kind of is. This is a little 2-player game. This is a super, super quick game. It plays in like 15 minutes, maybe less. And it's called Gold Ahoy. This is from Mayfair. You might not be able to find this game anymore. And all this is, it's a little tile laying game. Let me try to get this in the camera shot. It's a little tile laying game. And you're trying to match up beach to beach and water to water and get to all these treasure chests. And the more open, so like this is an opening of a beach, that's 2 treasure chests, that's 2 treasure chests, that's 2 treasure chests for you. This is the opening of water, that's treasure chest, that's treasure chest, that's treasure chest, that's 3 for you. And you want to just have the most treasure chests connected to your side, and each player will play a tile back and forth until you use all the tiles. It's a super quick game. It's not super piratey themed, but honestly, this was one of the games that we picked up from Mayfair because it was super, super cheap on one of their sales before they left Gen Con, before they just collapsed, closed as a company, retired. We picked this up super cheap. This was probably like $5. This is a good game. Honestly, for what it is, it's a good game. I'm trying to think of any other pirate games I might have. I have a couple of them. I'm trying to think. Not too much pirate stuff. I don't really do pirate. Don't really do pirate. Yeah, those are probably my only pirate games. I'm trying to think. I'm just kind of looking here. Oh, here's another. Is it in the box? Yeah, it is. Yarg. Munchkin booty. Who likes Munchkin? I have a ton of it. I haven't played it in a long time though. Yeah, I think that's about the only other pirate game I might have. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Pirates Cove is good. Yeah, I like Pirates Cove. I've heard people rave about Libertalia. Oh yeah, I have 2. I guess Islebound is pirate. So I love riding rocket games. Islebound, it actually is over there. I wasn't even think of that as a pirate game. I was thinking it's more of a sailing game, but not a pirate game. Islebound was like the one Red Raven game that didn't really hit the mark for us. I don't know, it just felt like we were spinning our wheels a lot when we played that. But I only played it once, and I try not to judge games too much on one play. Where am I trying it? I heard Stonemaier bought the rights or the trademark to the name. So it might be a reprint of Libertalia? Stonemaier bought the rights to Libertalia, is that what you're saying? Or to a different game? Huh. Interesting. I don't know too much about Libertalia, but I could see them making that game. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Anyway, oh my gosh, it's midnight already. I gotta wrap this game up. We've been having so much fun talking about stuff. Let's just take some actions, why don't we? Let's go ahead and I kind of want to just get monuments out. And I mean, I feel like everybody's kind of got the point of the game. I enjoy it. Obviously, when you're not taking breaks, it's not that long of a game. This doesn't tell me. The box tells me. We've been distracting him. I cannot hear Rock. Is he almost done with the game? You can't hear me? I've been talking the whole time. Oh, yeah. I'm not almost done. You've got. I'll be here for a while still. Yeah, it's going to be here for a little bit still. But heard it here. We were saying, I'm sure it was. Yeah, my mic's kind of far away from me as is. So probably especially when I was up walking around away from it, I totally get that. But yeah, let's go ahead and try to take some more actions here on the board. And I'm very happy to continue to talk games. I love pulling games off my shelf and talking about them. Honestly, that stream where I was cataloging the games and talking about my games was one of my favorite streams to do. And so when we get to 400 followers, we'll be doing that again with the other half of the collection.
Looks like Team Rocket's blasting off again!
Bonzinator Raid, welcome in Bonsai Nation. Thank you guys so much for that raid, Bonzinator. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you for following.
Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Johnny Deathhawk, thank you so much for that follow. Liesel, thank you so much for that subscription. I do appreciate both of those. Thank you so much for that shout out at Etiquette. I appreciate that. Anybody who is watching my stream, if you, for some crazy reason, do not follow Bonzinator, please go ahead and do so. She makes wonderful both video game and more recently board game content as well. Please, very avid board gamer, much heavier board gamer than I am here. I play more light to medium weight stuff. Bonds loves the heavy stuff. So please go ahead and follow Bonzinator if you're not doing so already. Let's go ahead and say hi to everybody that came by here with Bonzinator. We had James stop by. Thank you so much for being here, James. Liesel is here. Of course, Bonzinator is here. Ruel is here. Hello, Ruel. We got to get you a shout out too, my friend. I hope you are doing well. It's so nice to see your lovely face here in the chat. Very much looking forward to. Everybody does not know, TLN is this weekend. Tabletop Live Network happens on the last weekend of every month. I am a proud member of the Tabletop Live Network. Last month, in April's TLN, I hosted a TLN stream where we had Bonzinator and Meeple Conrad join us for some role player, and immediately upon completing that game, Bonzinator was asking us, should she buy Role Player? Which I think she ended up doing. So, we are introducing people to new games. People are loving games, and I really appreciate that raid. My name is Rock. This is Rolling with Rock. I am a physical board game, digital board game, and video game stream where I kind of do a little bit of everything. We are currently making a push for 400 followers, so if you haven't followed already, I really appreciate if you would do so. And when we reach 400 followers, we are going to do a Q&A, Ask Rock Almost Anything again, where I catalog the second half of my collection. I have cataloged everything that is behind me, but I need to catalog the other half of my collection, which is on the two 5x5 IKEA shelves to my right that is just slightly off of camera. So if you guys haven't followed already, I really would appreciate that. It does help out a lot. But yeah, right now I am playing board games on the tabletop on Thursdays and on Sunday nights. On Wednesdays, I do a board game community night where you guys can join us in chat and we play games for free on Board Game Arena. That is always a lot of fun. And what I've been doing is actually having special guests on the channel. So this Wednesday, just yesterday, we had Jesse from Heart Board Games on the channel as a guest host for Community Board Game Night. And then the next Wednesday is going to be crazy. And you Bonsai Nation, you guys are going to really be interested in this, because next Wednesday from 9 to 11:30 p.m. we're going to be joined by Matt from the Silver Metal Tavern, another wonderful TLN streamer, for Community Board Game Night. And then at 11:30 we're going to say, hey Matt, you got to go and open up your tavern. But we're going to let go of Matt so he can go get ready for opening up the tavern. But we're going to welcome in Bonzinator, Crystal Dax, and Eclectic Camel, and we're going to be firing up our Switches and playing some Super Mario Party 4-player online play. So next Wednesday, not only am I joined by Matt, I'm joined by Crystal Dax, I'm joined by Bonzinator, I'm joined by Eclectic Camel. So many guests next Wednesday. I'm really, really looking forward to that. So if you guys are interested in that at all, please go ahead and stay tuned for that stuff. On Tuesdays, I've been playing. I didn't do it this week because from Friday to Tuesday, I was not feeling well. I'm still not really feeling well, but I'm getting better. On Tuesdays, I have been playing a Pokemon game. I did do a full playthrough of Pokemon Fire Red Randomized with Nuzlocke, and recently I've been playing new Pokemon Snap. So if you have any interest in new Pokemon Snap, you can come by on Tuesdays. And then Mondays and Saturdays are kind of like random days, but a lot of times those end up being Fall Guys or Among Us or Jackbox games, just a bunch of different stuff. When I'm feeling well, I stream about every night of the week, except for most Fridays, because I'm hanging out over with you guys over at the Bonsai Nation. Hanging out for Multi-Stream Friday, playing Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart when I can. And so yeah, yes, I am aware of that, Bonds. So I probably will end up be streaming tomorrow. I will probably end up streaming some sort of Switch